Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler and today I'm going to be painting miniatures. This is my day off, so I usually talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5e or Dungeons & Dragons while I'm painting. I've got the window open because it's a little bit on the warm side. Well, I've been outside working, and so I think the window, you're going to hear birds. In other words, you're going to hear outside noises. That's definitely going to happen. So I bought a whole bunch of treasure piles, about 3 of them. And I started painting them and I wasn't happy with the final result. And so I'm going back over them and tidying them up. So this is a lot of detail work today. One of them will hopefully look kind of like this. Who knows? I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the case. But this is what I'm working with. I've attached everything to a lid rather than to a big stand. I think that is probably going to be a lot easier to paint. So I've painted everything brown. I started with gold, didn't work well. I started with put brown over this, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and pick out the individual coins. But first, I will do a quick dry brush. I'm going to try using this Kyrene gold. I didn't have a lot of success with the gold last time. I don't know why. Now you'll notice I have zoomed in really close. It's a very small miniature in comparison to the other things I normally paint. So you won't be able to see I don't really think you'll be able to see the paint palette as I'm working. I'm not sure that you're really going to worry too much about that sort of thing. Only a couple more days to go and the Dungeons & Dragons Essentials kit will be available, which will be good news. I've already decided that I will probably buy it from Mighty Ape in New Zealand, and well, hopefully they have it in stock on the 3rd of September. Who knows, it might wind up being the 4th of September, since New Zealand is sort of like ahead of the rest of the world in terms of time zones. And I'll get one of my friends who lives close by to Mighty Ape to pick it up for me. I think that's the best way to go. So let's just see if this is going to work. You are welcome to just grab your own projects, paint along with me, or just chat. That's good too. Okay. And we'll just brush over this real quick, and then I will go through and pick out all the things I want to sort of be specifically gold, and other things that I want to have silver or a different color. I'm going to stay away from the treasure chest as much as I possibly can, and I will use a wash on it, probably not today. I want the paint to be fairly dry when I do something like that. So let's just punch the whole thing with the gold, just about the whole thing. Go nice and quick. Alright, I think that is sufficient, and now I can probably go over that and just pick out the bits that I need to pick out. Now there's another treasure pile. There are 2 more that are actually a bit smaller than this. The problem is that those treasure piles, I'll show you what I'm talking about, there's no way I can dry brush those. I'm going to have to go through and individually pick out the coins, otherwise I'll hit the brown bags in the middle. So to clean out the dry brush, there's another one as well. There's this one, which I was working on. There's been a reasonable amount of excitement over the new Eberron book. I'm not honestly sure if that's something I'm going to pick up straight away. I don't see myself running a game in Eberron anytime soon, and I find myself in a situation where I wind up buying copious amounts of stuff for the sake of just doing reviews on YouTube, and it doesn't really sort of pay well, so I don't know why I keep trying to do that sort of thing. I don't know. Well, there's plenty of other channels who can do that sort of stuff, and it'll be fine for them. Anyway, I suppose it's probably because some people like to have my input as to what I think of the product, and that's probably what's going on there. Okay, let's just see if I can pick out that one. There's a coin there. We'll paint that. Another coin. Let's bring that coin out a little bit more. It's going to be a process of, I am probably going to just sort of go over it very, very quickly with my brush, picking out the ones that I see immediately and not worrying necessarily about picking up every single one until I'm I'm sure I need to worry about that sort of thing. Okay. Right. I might actually shift to a smaller brush. I might go for a... This is the standard size Citadel brush, so I might go for a smaller one again. Go with the layer, so I can get the paint exactly where I want it to go. I do apologise for my neighbour who seems to be constantly playing the drums. I suspect that he's unemployed and probably got very little to do. Okay. Right, so this is the layer brush instead. And go. Pick out the bits that I can see easily. So once you hit some of the details, you start to see the other bits. That sort of helps, right? Darren, how's it going? I don't know if there's that many people in the room. I am aware that me shifting my painting over to Twitch was working out fine, but it's pretty quiet nowadays in the on the Twitch channel. I'm very much aware of that. And I imagine that is because it's not necessarily the platform that people were expecting me to be on. But I think for now that's probably where I'm going to leave it. The only other way that I can see this working in terms of the long term is even if I wind up doing the painting videos on YouTube rather than Twitch TV, is that I would put them unlisted like I do with all of my live streams, so YouTube doesn't just smash me for having long form content, because it's unrealistic to expect somebody to watch an entire hour of painting, not unless you are a huge fan of painting miniatures. A lot of people used to jump into the YouTube painting videos just to have a chat with me, which it's fine. I have no issue with that whatsoever. Now, just make sure I keep this in the center. If I start going off to the side, you guys will have to let me know. Bam, there. And a little coin there. Another little coin I can just make out there. Some sort of bar. I'm not sure if that should be gold or silver. It's okay, Fred. I am working on my new campaign, so it's just fun to hang out. Oh, good. What's your campaign that you're working on, by the way? Kind of interested. I know that Jean-Paul has already said, somebody needs to start thinking about what's going to be run next, because his campaign will come to an end fairly shortly. I don't know when. We got stuck a little bit. We got sort of smashed a bit around by some invisible dwarves, but we've finally managed to get past that part of it, and we still have the problem of trying to find this artifact. I did some notes on the artifact and how to destroy an artifact in Dungeons and Dragons. There's lots of different ideas in the Dungeon Master's Guide, but I thought I would try and add a few more additional ideas of my own, or ideas that somebody else had, and see if I couldn't put together a video on it. So I've got the material put together, just haven't done the video yet. There's been plenty of good stuff this week anyway. We had a Lost Mine of Phandelver, and we had a whole bunch of sort of very generic videos on Dungeon Master advice, and I did the variant roll for the Beastmaster Ranger, and ignoring dice, stuff like that. Even covered the flower bag and how to use it in your game. I certainly hope that somebody will use that. I was talking to Blanco, who runs a YouTube channel for Dungeons and Dragons, sort of like cheap miniatures. It is quite clear that he's getting really frustrated with the YouTube machine, because there's nothing much you can do. You can't fight it. I've realized that this time around I can't fight it. It is just what it is. What's that, Darren? I am using a custom version of Into the Borderlands that Goodman Games put out. Okay. I have converted the original Keep on the Borderlands into every edition except 4th. Okay, I am subbed to Blanco 2 right from the start. Well, that's right back in 2005, isn't it? He's been going a long, long time. I've only been going less than 4 years. And but then again, I don't think he was necessarily hugely focused with his initial video production. That's part of the parcel of the problem, I guess. But he's got a lot of competition now. So I've got a lot of competition now. In the past, you couldn't really find videos on Dungeons and Dragons rules. Now there's a truckload of them. Really, the only people you might find who have done it or did them were the digital dungeon master. He doesn't really do that now, or myself, and that was it. Now you've got the dungeon dudes, and you've got various other channels that are doing. Even Critical Role have got their Handbook of Helper. Although I did notice they seem to have stopped doing that series. I suspect because it is difficult to produce and come up with material. That would be my suspicion. And also too, you've got to deal with. Most of the people who watch their videos are pretty nice about their products. So, okay. It is awkward answering questions about rules. I always found that it used to chew up an enormous amount of my time. So I'm going to go with just doing the gold first, and then I will go through and look at the bits that I think should be silver instead. What am I doing at the moment is entering into the World Anvil. It's a pretty good tool. Oh, okay, I've heard about that. I believe these are the deep cuts treasure piles that you could purchase as a pack. And I started painting them ages ago, but I had a whole bunch of problems. I don't know what it was. I think it was one of the very first things I started to paint live. And I hadn't done any painting for so long. So therefore, it was a bit of a shock to my system, and I was I had an audience while I was trying to sort of focus on an audience and put paint on miniature. And you'll find that most people do not talk to the audience while they're painting because they get distracted and make mistakes, which I can totally understand. It makes sense to me. La da 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 da, do 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 do. Okay, let's see if I can't get. I don't know what that is there. I think it's like a bar. I don't know that it necessarily needs to be a gold bar. It might be just a silver bar. It might be nice to make it a silver bar instead. Okay. So there'll be a lot of gold going on today. For those of you who are wondering what the heck's going on, there's a lot of gold being painted. And let's get my paint moving again. Okay, that's good. All right, just turn it and apply. Okay, yeah. I am aware that trying to paint individual coins is a little stupid, but I tried the other way and I don't really feel like it worked, so I'm trying to pick out the ones that sort of need to be picked out. And hopefully it'll look better this time round. Okay, there we go. I feel like that's just about got most of that sorted out. It's not too bad. And we'll move on to the next pile. I've got a big pile, I've got small piles. Been cutting down my plum tree. It's gotten just way too big. I've tried to cut it away from the house so that the branches aren't overhanging it. Wind up with the gutterings and the roof sort of covered in plums that drop off it. And then of course they rot because they're on the roof rather than on the ground. Most of the kids in the neighbourhood have a good old time when the plums come in, so they'll be eating those. Just as long as I don't bring their sticks and try to whack them off the tree, put a stick through my window, that would be not good. Okay, so that's that one. I'm going to just give it a quick check, see if I'm satisfied. Mostly, yes, just that little bit there, I think. And yeah, okay, good. All right. Now that that's done, we'll move that out of the way. I'm going to come back to that. I just wanted the gold to dry. Let's deal with this one. And again, I will have to use, I'm going to have to get a bit more gold out, but I'm going to just try and pick out the coins because I can't really dry brush it. It's just too small. Yo, boobity boo 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 boo. Use the layer brush again. Now, a friend of mine who's been helping me with some of the videos that I make, the ones that are around character building, Simon, has come up with some more interesting topics. One that should get released, I don't know, probably tomorrow or today, something like that. And that is, what is it? Thor's hammer of maximum damage lightning bolt destructive wrath or something like, I don't know. He came up with a title. It's very, very long, and basically it's how to maximize your lightning bolt and do as much damage with it as you possibly can. It's crazy idea, but it's the sort of stuff that he likes to come up with. So, and it's not something I'm very good at doing. And he was talking about, today, doing a shoot very quick just before I play my Dungeons and Dragons game, because today is my day for playing Dungeons and Dragons. Doing one on the Battle Rager from the Sword Coast Adventurers Guide, which is not one of my favourite adventure books. I have to say, it's not an adventure book, is it? It's really a settings book with a few player options. It is the one book that I refuse to buy. I just looked at it and I thought, no, it does not offer enough for me to even warrant it. If somebody wants to buy that and they're a player, they can go for it, but I do not want to have any part of it. Never really liked that book, and it is falling into the category of an unusable book for me. So is Acquisitions Incorporated. I'm still looking at that and trying to get my head around trying to do a review. But I've got so many dice I'm supposed to review. I keep getting sent dice from D&D WoW, and they kind of, want those reviews done very quickly, and I've tried to explain to them it's just not going to work that way, and nothing arrives in the time frames that you are talking about, because I live in New Zealand. I had somebody who wanted to show me off some of his work. He'd been working on sculpting a mount, a dinosaur mount. He'd been doing all sorts of mounts. He'd shown me a few pictures, and he said, look, I'm going to send you by post one of these. It took forever to get here. It came damaged and broken. Did not make it, the package had clearly been thrown around, stabbed, and all sorts of things. It was appalling, and it's really expensive to send something from LA. I think it came from LA. Certainly, I'm pretty sure it came from America to New Zealand. It doesn't matter how light or heavy it is. It's expensive. And it's all but destroyed. It really, I'll try and fix what I can of it. And the intention was that I would do like a video and show you the thing that he'd sent me, and now we're sort of looking at him just sending me, some photos of the process, and I just string it together as a slideshow. But it's a real shame, because he went to all that work. He spent all that money trying to send it overseas to me. I get mail about 3 times a week. Our mail service is appalling. And you know, they say, oh, it's because, you know, there's not many people using the mail. Well, I'm not using the mail because you guys aren't any good. Your mail service is awful. Nothing shows up without it being damaged or broken, and you're always slow, always slow. Now, even if you were slow, but the stuff showed up in decent nick, that would be something. But it doesn't work that way at all. So yeah, so it's a real bummer. I should have when he was talking to me about it, I should have said, look, just send me some pictures. Don't send me anything because it probably won't make it here. I think that's the thing I need to sort of communicate to people is don't send me anything. Just send me some video or some pictures, and that's good enough. Because nothing seems to survive the mail. Okay, this is working out fine. I feel like this is probably going to just consist of coins rather than much of anything else, because there's not really anything that sort of stands out. There's no weapons in there. It just looks like a pile of coins with some bags on top of it, and the bags are brown. And I don't know, I can probably put in a black tie or something like that. I don't mean like a dress tie, not a man's dress tie. Okay. Just have a quick look. Looks pretty good to me. Right, let's put that out of the way and let's work on the next one. Boom, boom, boom. Right, this is a bit different. This is going to require me, I'm not necessarily going to be picking out every single coin, but there are some details that need to be painted in, so we'll deal with that. There. Try to work fairly quickly rather than spend too much time on anything. It's not necessary. It is a treasure pile after all. If it was a monster, I'd be a bit more fussy, I would imagine. I got a couple of packages in the past couple of weeks that I needed to unbox and review, but have never been ill with nasty, persistent summer cold. I do understand trying to find time to do stuff. Right now I've got rather too much time, but that will change. I'm sure it will eventually change. Now where is this? This is going to be there. I don't know what that's. What is that? Looks like something odd. There's an axe there. I can see the axe. I can see the sword. It's just. And there's a coin. Let's just paint the coin. Yeah. I don't know what it is. It's very hard to get well in New Zealand. As soon as summer disappears, it's like changing weather. It's very wet in New Zealand, and we're close to the South Pole, so we get a lot of the southerlies. Somebody's doing some renovations. That drum is clanking along quite nicely. It will change, Fred, no doubt. Hopefully soon. Yeah. Usually, most of the lurgies and so forth, in terms of sickness in New Zealand, and my voice will probably change around December, and there'll be about 3 or 4 months of no real significant issues. I think once you get sick in New Zealand, you sort of stay sick until the summer comes, which is kind of weird, I know. But all right, let's see if we can't get some of those things inside the treasure chest coated. Coins. Bam. Where are we? And now. I'm probably not going to try to get them perfect, because I know the gold won't go onto the brown particularly well to start with, so I'll just hit it quickly and then go back, do something else, come back to it a little bit later. That'll be the plan. And there we go. Cool. Alright, now, next thing. Oh, I can see a shield in there as well. There we go. So I've already started to develop a sort of a plan as to how I'm going to paint the bigger pile so that things sort of stand out a bit more. I think what I'll do is I'll make the bars silver rather than gold. The coins can stay gold. I might paint the occasional one a different colour just to sort of break it up a little bit. And then I'll try to pick out all of the armour in the treasure pile so you can see it, because right now you really can't. I've got some job interviews coming up, so well, I've got one confirmed. So it's working in a customer service and a hardware store. So we'll see how that works out. Customer service is rough. Customer service. Now, what was I watching the other day? I've been watching a lot of MCDM. Matthew Colville Distracts Me. I think that's a channel, right? A YouTube channel. I've been watching some of their stuff. It does feel very much more like more normal Dungeons and Dragons that I'm used to. Or at least it's a different style compared to Critical Role. It was weird watching the Critical Role wedding. That was odd. It was very, very strange. What's even funnier is what happened during it, but I'm sure there might be a few people who don't want me to say anything, so I won't. Anyway, it was an odd development. Okay, so how do I get this coin here and there? They're all just a little bit too close to the lid of that treasure chest. A little bit tricky to get at. Never mind. Okay, and a little bit more. Just keep working my way around. Where have I not attacked? I feel like that's mostly done. That's there. Let's bring out those. Can I get that? No, maybe. Yeah, a wash is probably going to help a lot. But we'll get some of the gold on there. There. And that is probably going to wind up being silver anyway, but I just want to get some paint on it, just in case I miss it. I see it now and then later on I'll miss it, right? That'll be what that happens. God, the dogs. Got nothing better to do. Biggest problem is once that one starts, they all start. I was having a look at some advice that people were providing on inter-party conflict. And it's interesting, no matter how long I've been playing the game, there's always inter-party conflict of some kind between players. And these things don't necessarily go away. It doesn't matter how long you've been playing. Quite often those issues just still perpetuate. And you don't chuck people out. You just have to bear and grin it and deal with it. And I have noticed that our group has run into that problem quite a lot, and it's actually quite often quite a result of players not really fully understanding what's going on, getting sidetracked and talking about nonsense and not paying attention to what was said in the first place. And that's where it all tends to stem from. Or trying to make decisions on something that they have no real knowledge of, and they still want to be part of the decision-making process, but they've got no good advice to offer. And I've seen that happen so many times, where a player has not been willing to just let the rest of the group take the lead when they don't have anything better to suggest in terms of an action. And if you can't put it up, then just stay quiet. Good Lord. It is going to be fun, because very shortly I'm going to have to DM them. I'm sure I will be fine. Okay. Right, so I think that's good enough in terms of the gold. Oh, hang on, maybe just on that side bit there. Just on that side bit, and then we'll grab the next pile and paint in some of the details on that other pile that I had. There. Okay. Let's just turn it. It's always the angle, and you look at something and you think, oh, okay, there's something else that could have a bit more paint on it. Always the angle. Looks reasonable. It's a little bit light there. Let's see if we can grab a bit more paint. Yeah, all right. Okay. All right. We can come back to that anyway. Okay, so let's ditch this, move on to the other pile that I was working with, and we're going to grab some brown. Now, I had a really dark brown, but I think I'll use the Minotaur brown instead. So we're going to go with these bags, because I think that's really just going to need a bit of brown and a bit of black, and she's all but done, that pile. And then I'll put a wash on it sometime. Okay, so a bit of brown, squeeze that out. It's not very dark. Have I got a darker brown I could use? I know I do. It's a matter of whether I can find it though. Owlbear brown as well. Okay, good to know. Might actually use that. Let's start with this and see what it looks like. Alright, don't have to add water, that's good. Yep. Maybe we'll stick with this. Maybe we'll stick with this if it doesn't look too bad. There we go. I have two new players in my new group. One is great, and one is an experienced power gamer. So after only 2 sessions with the latter, there's still some fitting in pains, so to speak. Yes, I can believe it. I've got a friend who is he wouldn't call himself a power gamer because, you know, it's not necessarily always about that sort of thing, but he's certainly capable of doing that, and he does think in terms of optimization and what is effective and so forth. And it's been a bit of an interesting dynamic, because I know that the Dungeon Master we've got at present, Jean-Paul has really been finding it difficult keeping up with higher level play and some of the options available to players, particularly if you start using the player's handbook and other books. If it's just the player's handbook, it's a little bit easier to sort of get to grips with. Once you start using Xanathar's Guide to Everything and the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide and some of the other options and some of the other books that might be available, it gets a little bit more difficult. I think half the problem, half the time is players who don't tell the Dungeon Master exactly what they are using. They just assume that the Dungeon Master knows exactly what's on their character sheet, even when they've never seen the character sheet, or hardly ever see it. They just assume that they know what they're doing. Like, the Dungeon Master is omnipotent and can read their mind and stuff like that. But it's really, really helpful to a Dungeon Master when players specify exactly what they are doing and what they are using. Can you imagine, even though, you know what makes me laugh is when people start talking about feats and so forth, but, it would be very hard for a Dungeon Master to not have multi-classing, even though it's optional, and not have feats used in the game, just because everybody expects those things as a standard. And to exclude them would just wind up causing a whole lot of grief. Okay, so that's all right. We'll come back to you. Pop that over there for now. I probably will use the Owlbear Brown just shortly. Okay, so this is the next pile, and I'm going to go over the bags. Oh my gosh. Yes, I need to see the new person's sheet very badly. Yeah, well, sometimes that is easier said than done, right? Because I can't count the number of players who have got their character sheet and it's handwritten out and you can't read a thing on it. Or it's written in such tiny writing that you can't read it. And my old eyes need big print to be able to see anything. Dear. I know I could not read some of the guys. I know, Jean Paul's writing is so small I couldn't read his character sheet to save himself, let alone his notes. And then I couldn't read Simon's handwriting to save myself. I might be all right with Kirsty's. I have no idea about Cajun. No idea if I could read his. And my own handwriting is it's all right. Just depends on how quickly I've written things down. I can at least read my own writing. God, it's funny when somebody says, I don't know what this is. I can't read my own handwriting. Just like, really? That is a funny one, that is. It's very amusing. So I am still working my way through. I will do more Curse of Strahd Dungeon Master guides. They will happen. Just nothing has sort of stuck its head out. I've been thinking for a little while I might do Madame Ava. But I guess Madame Ava is actually quite a difficult character to do. I mean, to be fair, I feel like Strahd is probably the hardest one to cover. But there's at least a lot of information on him. So that does make it a little bit easier. Now there's something else there. That isn't actually part of the bag, is it? That's something sitting on top of the bag. All right, well, let's leave that alone. And I'll certainly have to cover that with some other paint. But yes, I've been working on Lost Mine of Phandelver. There's really only a few more videos really required for that. Mostly NPCs from Phandalin, which I avoided so that people would not try to roleplay every single one of them all at once, which I knew they would try to do. It's like a bad idea. But Sister Garel, I think it's Garel, Gali, something like that, from the Shrine Luck, or Luck Shrine or whatever. I've been working on her. Who else have I been working on? Is it Quillen Elderleaf? I've been working on her as well. Still trying to work on Glass Staff. Not sure how well that's going to work out, developing Glass Staff. I feel like that will probably be one of the last videos I do, because you actually are really annoying NPC for players and for a dungeon master, and I often feel like you wind up spending far too much time on a character which is pretty much been designed to get killed as quickly as possible. So I think that is part of the reason why I have avoided that character, because I know it's a pointless exercise. You could say a lot about the character, or you could just say, just don't worry about it. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, let's clean off that, and I'll just put that to the side and just check this bigger one and see what we're looking like there. I feel like the chest is mostly the colour that it needs to be, so I'm not going to attack it with anything. So we'll leave that. That's good. All right, so now this one. We want to go for a silver colour. What have I got here? I've got Silver Dragon. Silver Dragon, we'll try that out. I'm going to pick out some of those bars in this small pile here. There we go. Not too much. Still sticking with the very small layer brush rather than a standard brush, just because everything is so small. There we go, and first bar. There we go. Just to make everything, break everything up a little bit, eh? Otherwise it just feels like a great huge pile of gold coins. Now, there is something there. I feel like that should really be silver. I feel like that's a silver bar of some kind. Well, it is now. And that, did I get the other side of it? Just turn it a little bit. Small details. Okay, and there's definitely a long bar there, so we'll paint that in. And then turn it a little bit. It looks like, it doesn't really look like a coin, it looks like something else, so I'm going to just paint that silver as well. Because it feels a little bit lopsided in terms of its shape. Alright, there's more bars, I can see them, they're just starting to pop out now, and then we'll just cut that one in. And I'll do, oh, there's another one. They're all starting to stand out a little bit more now. Either that or my eyes aren't too bad. I've got a lot more light shining on, because I don't have my acoustic foam in front of my window, so because the window's open I can actually see a bit more. Okay, so this is another bar. That there, I don't know what that is, but we're going to paint it silver as well. Nothing that really looks like a gem in there. Coins, coins, coins. Don't know what that is. What is that? No, it's not really a bar, it's just a really badly shaped coin, I think. And the rest we'll leave. I'll come back to you shortly though. Okay, so that's broken it up a little bit. And now let's get this one going. We'll start off with the square bars, and just see if I can't pull them out of the pile so they stand out a little bit. That's 1, 2. Let's do a bit more. Put on the side, down the side. Okay, and there's another long bar just there. That could be silver as well. There's an axe there, and I think what I'll do is I will just paint it in silver and then pull out the handle with some brown. Just make it out, hopefully. Oh, and there's another bar there. And another one there. This big pile has got a lot more detail on it. There's a lot of various different things sort of mixed up in the pile, so a little bit more interesting. The other one's pretty basic, right? Okay, so let's hit the edge, hit down the side. Hit the blade a little bit more. What is that? I can't tell. There's something there. It's not standard. Anyway, hang on. That is just... There's a blade here for a sword, so I'm going to hit it with the silver. I do have some other colours that would be less silvery, but just for now, let's just pick them out so you can see them. And there's another bar there. Is it a bar there? It is a bar there. It's the side of a bar. And nothing there, nothing there. Keep turning. Make that a silver bar there. I feel like that is, I don't know what that is. Got no idea what that is. I'm just going to pick it out with the silver and see what it looks like. It looks like it's either an arrow or maybe a quiver. Something like that. I think that's what it is. It's either an arrow or a quiver. Oh, I just spotted a blade, sword blade here. That looks like it might be in a scarab. No, so I won't pull that out. I'll just leave that for now. Let's grab this bar here. Alright, let's just turn that a bit more. Cool. Let's let it settle a bit, get a bit drier before I can do anything else with it. It's going to take probably a couple of coats to make that sort of stand out. Okay, what else have we got here? Those little things that I painted. They're sort of like a funny shape. Turn it. What else have we got here? There's some shields there. I can definitely see a shield. I can see some more of those bricks, so I'll paint the bricks. Like so. And I am honestly not sure what that is. I think that is a shield of some kind. Let's just pick it out and I'll put something else over the top of it later. What else have I got here? I've got some bronze. I can use some bronze for some things. Maybe the shields would be better off bronze. I think that's actually not a bad idea. Okay. All right, that's that. Okay, so if I've got a little bit of brown still flying. No, not really. Okay, so we'll leave that alone. Let's turn it, see if we can find another brick. There is another brick here. Painting that brick there. And turn, looking for other things to pull out. Oh, I think that there is either a quiver of arrows or something long. So I'm just going to paint it silver so it stands out a bit. And there's definitely something that's squarish there. I have no idea what it is. Let's just paint it and make it stand out. I can see the handle on that, that's fine. The hilts on that. Shields. Let's do the shields. Okay, so what am I going to use? I'm going to use this dwarven bronze. I don't know how good this dwarven bronze is going to be though. Give it a good hard shake. And there we go. Perfect. Oh, what is that? What is that? It is hard to figure out. I've got no idea. Either my eyes aren't very good. Well, I know my eyes aren't very good. But the detail on it, it's something, but I don't know what it is. No idea at all. It's really peculiar. It's like it's a, I don't know, an angled bracket. Why would you have an angled bracket in there? I don't understand that at all. Okay, so let's do the shields, this bronze. Thank you. I'm glad it's starting to look good. It is at least starting to look less gold, and some of the things are standing out, right? So... and the shield goes down. There we go, cool. And we'll do that again. There's another one right here. Bam. That too much paint. Hang on, give me a second. Cool, that's good. That's some sort of round thing. What is that? I've got no idea. I'm going to hit it with this because I don't know what else it would be. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not honestly sure at all what that might be. It's very hard to make out. That's some, I don't know what that's supposed to be there. I think that may be some sort of shield as well. Or a piece of armor, maybe a piece of armor. Okay, good. What is this? Oh, there's another one. It's like a... I wonder if it's a scone, like a wall torch. Maybe it's something like that. Or it might be just my imagination too. Okay, so let's see if I can't pick out the swords that are there. Now I'll use a darker brown. I'll use this owlbear brown to pick out the scarab. And the handle, what am I going to use for the handle? I think probably black probably be fine. Let's just start with this brown. And it should be around about there. There we go. And then I'm sure there's another one. Yeah, that's right. Over here. we'll hit the handle on that axe. We'll go brown. And actually maybe the bottom section should be a bit silvery. Silvery? No. Go bronze. I feel like that might be a bit of a handle or a pummel or just a weight, counterweight of some kind, just sitting there. Just the end of that brick. End of that brick. Don't know what that is, but we'll pick it out with the silver. And there's some sort of block there. We'll just put that silver over there as well. Yay. Okay, so I've done that. I needed some black. Oh, hang on there. Silver for the hilt. Do I want to do that for that one? No, probably not. So we'll ditch that idea. And now, what do I want to do with the chest? I think we'll go with that colour instead of going with silver. I think that's what we'll do. We'll go with the Dwarven bronze. There we go. There's the lock. Leave that side. Oh, I'll just turn this side over. Bit more paint. Run along the edge. And then just along the top. Very, very fiddly. Very fiddly. Okay. Right, a little bit more. Do the same thing on the other side. Again, and along the top. A little bit of lost control of the brush just a little bit. Okay, couple more lines there. Oh, very, very awkward. Oh, I'm going cross-eyed now. Okay, so that's that bit. And I wanted a bit of black. Do I have anything that's... Yep, I'll just use the Vallejo black that I've got. And the ball bearing's running around in there nice and good. Cool. And punch that in there. Come on, you. Squeeze out. Good. Cool. And... Yep. So, sword. And it's got a pummel at the end there, so what I'm going to do, that little weight there the end what I'm going to do with it. Let's go with the brown, this dark brown that I've got. Owlbear brown. Does it look right? Yeah, that'll do. Cool, and there was a little bit more black that needed to go somewhere. Yes, right there on that sword. Okay, quick hard look. Do things stand out? Mostly. I think maybe I need just a little bit more silver. I just see a couple more blocks that sort of suggest that there's a bit more needs to go on. So we'll do that. Do that now, and then we're done. I mean, I could fiddle with this thing for ages and probably still be finding stuff hours later. Bits that I had missed. And let's paint that one there on top. And this one here. Come on, you. Do it. Is that a candlestick? Maybe it is. It looks like a candlestick. With my eyes, looks like a candlestick. Okay, so let's have a look around here. Yep, there's a funny little lopsided thing, which we'll just paint silver. And I can't tell what those are. I think is that a spoon? Now my mind is just playing tricks on me. It's probably not a spoon. In fact, I feel like it definitely isn't a spoon. But it's something. I don't know what. I've got no idea. I've got no idea what that is. Dear. Oh, there we go. There's a little funny little shape thing. We'll just... Cool. Alright. I think that'll do. That'll do. I get carried away with these things and keep going on and on and on and on. So let's just chuck everything in view, and I will do like a spin test for the main one, since that's really what you showed up for, and the other ones are just less important. So yeah, so this is the treasure chest pile, or treasure pile, the main one, which I feel like is a really cool thing to have, because when you have a treasure pile, it's nice to be able to put down a treasure pile, particularly if you want the treasure pile to spring to life and attack your players. And I don't see anything wrong with doing something like that. Here's the very small one. It's pretty simple, nothing much going on there. And there's this other one here that I've got, and I've just picked out a couple of things out of there, painted them silver, and the bags are brown. And yeah, that is what we have. That is the treasure piles for today. Thank you for hanging out with me. Hopefully you got lots of crafting and painting done yourself. If you did, that's great news. I managed to actually get more done than I had expected. I honestly didn't think I would get quite as much done. Now, if you like what you see, that's awesome. I do actually have plenty of painting videos. You'll find most of my painting takes place on Twitch TV. There's a few still sitting over on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. Of course, Twitch TV doesn't keep everything up indefinitely, but I have been transporting the live streams and recording them and then putting them processing them down as unlisted videos or private videos on YouTube, and they will become available to patrons if you want to become a patron and check that stuff out. I'm just in the process of organising all of that, but most of them have been transferred over if you are interested. Now, if you like this sort of thing, I do this usually once a week on my day off, which is today. I have hundreds of videos for players and dungeon masters over on YouTube if you are interested in checking those things out. If you want to support the channel so I keep doing stuff like this, then you can support me on Patreon. You can also try out my affiliate links for the book depository and Amazon. Most of those are provided over on the videos for YouTube rather than on Twitch TV. You'll find that I have a merchandise shelf where you can buy stuff, and I get a small commission on those that merchandise. Make sure to share, like, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Make sure to hit the heart button or the follow button on Twitch TV if you're not following me, so you know when I am live and when I'm doing stuff like this. And yeah, thank you for watching, and hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s.